Chapter 67, The Proposal. Hyun-ki could not be at rest while thinking about Reeler's accident, thinking she was in danger. So, he asked his detective friend to shed light on the incident. Hyun-ki returned to his office and asked for Hwan-chul. Alexis called him over the phone, and a few minutes later, Hwan-chul appeared with a curious look. "What happened, Hyun? Why the sudden leave?" Hyun-ki replied. "Riel almost got into a dangerous accident this morning. Her wheelchair lost its safety lock and was moving swiftly downwards, about to get bumped into a lobby column. It was a good thing that a male nurse got hold of her wheelchair just in time. Fear overcame me, Hwan, and I could not afford to lose my bride again." Hyun-ki expressed his fears to Hwan-chul, then sniffled. "Had the nurse aide checked the safety lock? And where was the nurse aide when the accident happened?" asked Hwan-chul with great concern. "The nurse aide made sure that the wheelchair's brakes were safely locked before leaving Riel, not far from her site. And she too was puzzled because the wheelchair was new. Don't you think someone tampered with its brakes, Hyun? You have to check if those robbers were still in prison. Maybe one of them did that for revenge." He would have never thought about it without Hwan-chul's idea. Hyun-ki was shaken. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Hyun-ki's detective friend arrived and waited for Hyun-ki by the entrance lobby. And while waiting, he started asking questions about the runaway wheelchair incident. He asked for the male nurse who saved Riel and was brought to the staff room for nurses. "Good afternoon, I am Detective Rowan. It was you who was able to stop the wheelchair from running towards a column post. What's your name again?" "I'm John, sir." "Yes, it was true. A wheelchair once locked would not just run away even if you pushed it, because first, the wheelchair was brand new, and second, while locked, the wheelchair would stumble down, not run straight towards my path. And when I checked, the security lock was lifted," John explained. Detective Rowan thanked John and left to see Hyun-ki. He called Hyun-ki to inform him that he was already collecting information about the incident on the hospital's ground floor. Hyun-ki thought of sending the nurse aide down to the ground floor to meet the detective by the nurse station and show him where Reeler's wheelchair stood before the accident. "I positioned Miss Riel a few meters from this bench, where I sat and was reading an article, until I got startled by her screams. And I am very sure, Mr. Detective, that the wheelchair couldn't run independently, because before taking my place on the bench, I still saw her contentedly seated. The wheelchair could have moved already while I went toward the shady tree if the brakes were weak. And it wouldn't escape Miss Reeler or my attention if the wheelchair was moving, because the ground where she was, as you can see, was flat, unless someone tampered with the brakes and forced the wheelchair to move. The bad thing was I saw no one," the nurse aide said sadly. Detective Rowan checked the position of the wheelchair and the bench where the nurse aide sat and felt the ground as he stood on it. The wheelchair couldn't move independently, even if the brakes weren't securely locked. The earth itself was grassy and soft. Detective Rowan's eyes roamed around, shifting around the perimeter, looking for a CCTV. Then he and the nurse aide returned to Reeler's suite to give his report to Hyun-ki. Once inside the suite, Detective Rowan asked to see the wheelchair to check on it, if it has tampered with. Finding nothing, he suggested that he and Hyun-ki should go to the admin office to ask permission for the CCTV to check. The detective and Hyun-ki started looking for the scenes captured aligning with the time Riel was in the park, until they saw Riel sitting in her wheelchair when a man in a hooded jacket with a face mask on tied his rubber shoelace, then touched the wheelchair's security lock and forced the wheelchair to run swiftly on its own. Detective Rowan zoomed in on the camera to get the face of the person of interest, but was fully covered that they failed to identify the culprit. Hyun-ki expressed his concern to the detective and told him his suspicion. This incident could not be taken for granted, for Riel is in danger. It could be done by one of the relatives or friends of the robbers, who were now in prison. "Rowan, it must not be taken lightly. I understand your position concerning Reeler's safety, and I will not rest until I find who was behind this mystery. But for now, keep your bodyguards from being slipshod on guarding her. They should always be alert, not making their duty remiss," advised Detective Rowan. The following morning, Riel suggested to Hyun-ki that she wanted to escape confinement because she was bored doing nothing. Although he understood Reeler's situation, he thought the hospital was the safest place for her to stay until she fully recovered. "No, I'm tired of this place. I will get sicker if you don't bring me home. Please, Hyun, I beg of you. Tell the doctor I am moving out, or else I will get out of here without anyone knowing. Now choose." Hyun-ki was caught in fear for Riel and his worry about her, not fully recovering. But because Riel was determined to get out of her hospitalization, Hyun-ki was forced to persuade the doctor. I could allow her to go home, but she had to see me weekly to monitor her heart, advised the doctor. Unknowingly, Riel had followed Hyun-ki, and she stood by the door, listening to what the doctor said. I could also return to the bank, since my job doesn't require strenuous work, remarked Riel. Hyun-ki was surprised to find Riel following him, and suggested returning to work. Hyun-ki recalled his conversation with Mrs. Echeverria about firing Riel from her job. He was caught in the web of worry and revelation of her getting fired. I don't think that is healthy, Riel. You are forcing yourself to work because of boredom. Why not stay put at your place and find something to keep yourself busy, suggested Hyun-ki. Like what? Watch TV all day long? That was why I wanted to leave the hospital, because it only made my mind rusty, and I didn't want to end up lazy or dormant on things I could do. So, does it mean I could not tie you down when we were married? Or had kids? Hyun-ki asked inconsiderately of Riel's feelings. Riel stared at Hyun-ki, long and quiet. And when silence was about to hover them, Riel turned her back against Hyun-ki and walked away from him briskly. She was about to shed tears when Hyun-ki caught up to her. Hyun-ki saw beads of tears about to well in Riel's eyes, and Riel was fighting off Hyun-ki's hold on her. I'm so sorry, babe. I didn't know what was on your mind. Let us talk, please. Hyun-ki clasped her hand, and both walked back to her suite. They were both quiet, and Riel walked toward the couch and told the nurse aide and lady bodyguard to leave for a while. And when they left, Riel frowned at Hyun-ki and turned her face away. Hyun-ki grinned, thinking Riel was sulking, so he came closer to her and held her hands. I'm sorry for telling you what you should be after we marry. But speaking of my position, why should I let my wife work when I could give all the best and spoil my wife with good things? Being married to me, you will live like a queen. You have nothing to think that may stress you, but only to love me and take care of me. And when we have a child, you should be there to take care of our child. Not physically, because the child will have a nanny, but having you around will take care of his well-being, help him grow to become a better person. Just like the way your mom brought you up, Riel. I see you as a good mother and a better wife. Are these too much to ask, Riel? Let us get married, Riel. Marry me? Riel was not moving and chose to be silent. I know this is not the right place, nor the right time to propose, but I will make it official as soon as we leave. Look at me, Riel, and if you are willing, give me that sweetest smile that melts my heart. Riel looked at him blankly, which troubled Hyun-ki. It's not that I don't want to marry you, Hyun, but there are still things to reconsider. Firstly, your relationship with Sarah. Was it truly over, Hyun? You have not said anything about your breakup. I don't want to be put in the middle, as I already stressed this to you. I don't want us arguing about her, if she was still there fighting for you. Secondly, were your parents sincere about you marrying me, or was it just a show, because there was the press around, and the chance to put your businesses on a sound footing by using me? I am happy that you wanted to give me the best of everything. It was any woman's dream, and marriage, for me, is sacred. But if this marriage is only for your own parents' advantage, and later on, meddles with their lives, because of indifferences in traditions and standards, it would only destroy us. I don't want my children to become a part of a broken family, Riel stated with great concern. I will stand by your side, and protect you and my children, because that is how much I love you. No one, not even my parents, could influence me in running my life, as husband and wife, and I know it would be worth the risk to marry me, but my promise will stand, and you must believe me, Riel. You can count on it. Riel still had her misgivings about Hyun-ki. How far will this relationship go? Keep following the Windows of the Heart series. More exciting episodes are coming. Thank you.